Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Geri Petito Show on D.A.M.O.N Looks. Guys, I've got a really cool guest, and no relation, okay? Thomas Petito. Say hello to everyone.
Hello.
So, the reason why I invited this incredibly cool guy is because he's a producer of premium wines and organic wines as well. Now, I want to show you this photo, okay? This is really cool because here's the grapes and here are the wine barrels. That means so much to me because I grew up in an Italian family. My dad and his family was from Italy on a farm, and they made their own wine. And my grandfather continued to do that in the US. And I grew up in my Nana's basement every Sunday with the entire family with all their wine barrels there. So when I got introduced to Thomas, it melted my heart. So Thomas, how are you today?
I'm okay. And I'm glad you bring that up because wine is traditionally, our families all had these barrels
Yes.
that were used and reused.
Yes.
When I first started making wine, I made wine with a good friend of mine's father in Long Island some years ago. And he had these old barrels. And I was like, don't you want to buy a new barrel? Don't you want to get the flavors of the wood and everything? And he looked at me and he started laughing. He said, these barrels are older than you.
Yes.
So that just gave you like this insight to how wine was once made, how it is still made in certain instances, and how technology has taken over to produce what is today considered amazing wines. But you have garage wine, you have cellar wine, and traditional family wine, and unfortunately that's soon to be a thing of the past.
So why do you say that? Why do you say that?
Because traditionally nobody's picking up the traditions of making wine the old-fashioned way. It's just, I don't know.
It's so sad.
You have to have a real love for it.
I know. It's very sad. It's very sad. So when you connected with me and you put me into this food group you created. What's it called?
The Food Right.
Okay. I love it. And then I saw your photos of like I said, the wine, the grapes, and the barrels, and thought we must connect. So tell everyone out there everything you want them to know about what you're doing with these wines, and then I want to talk about your organic wines, okay?
Well, I'm a very small importer and a distributor. I have a select crowd, if you will. So what we do is we import from the small winemakers, the guys that are not in the commercial stream, if you will.
Okay.
So typically, you may go to the store and you may find a wine and it's available nationwide, and those production levels are in the millions. We don't deal with commercial wine. We deal with small production, handmade boutiques, which means that it's all hands-on. It's the chemicals are much less. It's just a whole different way of making wine. And then, of course, when you're ready, I'll explain the organic side of it.
So we're ready. Let's hear it. Come on.
Well, all it means is that organic is being, in this case, it's being made with organic grapes.
Yes.
So the vineyards are not, we don't kill the vineyards with pesticides and herbicides and that stuff. That's not to say, to be honest, that's not to say that they're not used. They are. They're just not used at the levels that commercial wine growers will use.
That's right. So a lot of people that know me, and I'm gonna let me grab my book real quick, guys. I wasn't even thinking about this, but I better say this. So a lot of people that know me know I am the author of I'm Not an Addict, I'm Just an Ass. I'd rather be a smart ass than a dumb ass. And the reason I'm bringing this up is a lot of people are going to be questioning me on why would you have a show on wine if you wrote a book on addiction and recovery? You know what I mean? I'm a recovery coach. This is why, guys.
No.
Yep.
I was going to bring that up too. I mean, there's nothing wrong with an average person having a glass of wine
No.
a day. So
No.
without getting into the issues that people are having with multiple glasses and so on and so forth, this is just simply about, if I could create a picture, you're in an old town in Europe. It could be Spain, Italy, France. You're in an old town. You're having a normal lunch, which will be of local foods, local breads, local meats, local vegetables in particular, or fruits, olives, and a glass of wine. Sounding a little obnoxious, this country is not about that. We're about quantity. We're not about quality.
But I want to take it a little step further with the wine, because I'm also a nutritional health coach. And I'm here to tell everyone that organic wine is actually healthy to have 1 glass a day. My Nana lived to 100. My aunt is in her 90s. Like, they're all going so strong and well. And every one of them had a glass of wine every day. I grew up watching this. Their wine was homemade. So there's also so many health benefits to real good wine, 1 glass a day. I just had to say that because it's true.
Yeah, resveratrol, polyphenols, all of those things contribute to antioxidants. But that is if you're going to put it in the category of a glass a day.
Yes.
If you're going to be extreme and drink a bottle, then you're defeating the purpose.
So what got you into all this with the wine? Tell us.
I've always been a foodie. I've always, for 100 years, I just always preferred homemade food, real food, traditional food, and then that just led its way into wine as an accompaniment. And I found this little niche that I've been, working with for quite a few years now, and it's just the way I view things, I guess, is the best way to say it.
Right. And I'm also a vegan chef, and I'm Italian, so I'm into all of that.
When you have a garden and you're able to go out pick a fresh head of lettuce, and then you taste that right from the garden, and then you compare it to what you buy in a store, it's night and day. So I'm using that as an extreme to just just to give an illustration, to create a scene where vegetables, fruits are so delicious, and I see it, that people just don't eat enough of it. And I would rather lean down that road as opposed to fast food and I'm trying to choose my words correctly, because I don't want to alienate anybody. But to be honest, I'm just so anti fast food, I don't even know how to say it.
I can say it for you. Listen to me. I'm a nutritional health coach. I promote health. I promote vegetables. I'm vegan. I don't say to anyone, you have to be vegan to be healthy, but I tell everyone, you have to get rid of all fast food, all processed foods, all sodas, all crap. Just say it like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you a funny story. A long time ago, I was having dinner in a restaurant with my wife and kids, and they were like 4-ish, 5-ish in that neighborhood. And I poured them a little sip of wine.
Yeah.
And this woman in another table, a real nosy person, turned around and she had an issue with that. So I said to her, so what? So let me ask you something. What should I be giving them right now? Soda?
That's right.
And she didn't say a word.
That's right.
She didn't say a word. So they had a little sip of wine. They had a little water, and they were not raised with soda. We don't drink soda. We don't drink anything that has fructose in it. I mean, that's it's horrible. It's beyond horrible.
It's beyond horrible. Thank you. I knew we were connecting for a reason. And you know what? I grew up sitting on my grandfather's lap and getting a sip of his wine. Okay? Amazing.
That's how it was for us traditionally.
Yes.
I mean, I remember my grandparents had a grocery store, and I remember as a boy, we would sit down and have, macaroni on Sunday and all that kind of stuff. And my grandfather would pour a little bit of wine into, you remember the old-fashioned jelly jars?
Heck yeah, we use them all the time. Grape jelly jars.
So they would save those little jars. Those jars became cups for the kids.
Yes.
And he would put a little bit of wine in it, and it like was such a big deal too. It's like, oh my God, I had wine, but you were having real wine. It
Yep.
was like
Real
not like
wine. Real wine. That's right.
yes.
And you know what's funny? I wrote a book on addiction and recovery, but I never drank ever. So it's not like that wine made me drink. I never drank. And you're right,
Yeah,
real wine.
I'm not. I got to be honest with you. I'm not a real drinker either. I mean, I enjoy a bourbon from time to time, and I enjoy a glass of wine. But I've become such a snob that I can't drink. Like if I'm going to have a glass of wine, I'm having a glass of wine. I'm not having something for the sake of having a glass of wine.
That's right.
So, I have friends that get a little, they get a little pissy with me, and it's like, oh, come on, we're out, just, enjoy it and try not to be. And I'm like, you're right, of course, let's just have, enjoy and have something. But if you leave it up to me, if you leave it up to my own devices, I won't even go near it.
I agree with you. That is so funny listening to you talking. I remember years ago, 30 years ago, I became a vegan. 30 years ago, I changed my life, blah, blah, blah. And I remember all my family members thinking I was crazy. Well, guess what? Whenever they have issues, they come to me now, okay? My father became vegan. My brother is now vegan, okay? It's craziness. But, everything was homemade, all the food, like I said, the wine, everything. I grew up with that. What a beautiful memory. And you brought all those memories back to me, Thomas.
Well, I got to be honest with you. Thank you. My pleasure. And it's just a step further. You have so many opportunities to put good food in your body. All you have to do is just spend a little extra time shopping around and preparing and making yourself an amazing meal. There's a chef, a famous chef. She's a wonderful person. Her name is Alice Waters. And she said a long time ago something that has always resonated with me. Spend more time in the market and less time in the kitchen. When you're buying the right stuff, you don't need to do anything to it. You just need to open it, season it just gently with your favorite, if it's an olive oil or salt and pepper or whatever, and then just enjoy food. The idea that you have to overcook things and, add 7 layers of this to it is just, it's ridiculous. Just go back to basics. And you know what? Unfortunately, as population keeps growing and the food chains keep getting smaller and smaller. I mean, walk through a supermarket and tell me what you see.
Well, I don't walk through them anymore. I only go to natural food stores, Whole Foods, things like that. My health food stores here in town. But I want to share something with you. I grew up on, a couple acres of land in Robbinsville. My dad, and he had 1/3 of his land was his garden. And my entire life, he had plum trees, fig trees. It was crazy what he did, right? Well, he used to go to my neighbors without telling them, and they would open the door and see bushels of veggies and fruits, and they would know that it was my dad.
Yeah, that's so cool. Do you know what a blue zone is?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so there's 7 blue zones in the world.
Okay.
And these are areas where they've collected a significant amount of data that will tell you the longevity of the people that come from these areas on average. So you have one is in Greece, one is in Italy, one is actually in Southern California. I think Japan is one, and please forgive me for not knowing all 7 of them right now.
Okay.
But the one in Italy is in an area where people, they don't drive, they walk. They live in these small villages, and they walk to the local grocer or baker or, whatever they're going to use. It's merchants that are selling locally grown grains and beans and fruits and vegetables and so on and so forth. So a blue zone is where people live to be 100, free of diseases, on the most part, on the average.
Yeah.
So you'll find that people live longer, healthier lives coming from these places. And what the common denominator is exercise. They walk everywhere. They don't drive. And the foods that are available to them, which means olive oils and, again, fruits and vegetables and those types of things.
Yeah, homemade.
So there's a lot to be said for people that have stayed away from processed foods fast foods and so on and so forth.
But even the frame of mind and even them being close together and working together, that's a big part of it as well. Being happy.
Yeah, without a doubt. So
yes.
it's a very communal thing.
Yes.
But all things considered, this is what contributes to longevity, but longevity in a healthy way, where they're not dealing with the issues that we deal with. I mean, there's a lot of sickness that happens as a result of diet. Diet's one of the most, it's overlooked. It's taken for granted. People,
I got to piggyback on what you just said real quick. I cured myself of 2 cancers almost 30 years ago, completely natural. I've been all over the world on health tours. I went to Russia when it was communist through Lenox Hill Hospital. I've been to Asia for a month back then. Anyway, here's the thing. Okay. So I did everything natural. I'm certified in fasting. I do fasts and all that good stuff. All right. You know what people say to me all the time? Oh, well, you're going to die too. And I'm like, it's not about dying. I don't care about dying. I'm going to meet the Lord. I said, but I care about living sick. I am 60 years old and I am not on one medication for 30 years. Nothing. No operations, no nothing. Okay. And that's what it's about, Thomas. Not living long, but living happy and healthy.
100%.
Yes.
Everybody wants to live, a long life. But the idea is to live it healthy.
Yes.
Who wants to be dependent on medications for diabetes and heart issues? And, people are overweight, and they're overweight because their bodies are not processing what they put in their stomachs every day.
That's crazy.
And it has to at some point be addressed. Otherwise, this is that's the end result. So look, I'm not a doctor, and I certainly don't pretend to be an authority on foods and so on and so forth. I just lean in the direction of the garden, of healthier, of staying away from processed, staying away from fast foods. I just, for the life of me, to me, it's just horrible. I can't go near it.
I want to give a shout out. We have Barbara Ann in the chat room in my YouTube channel. Everybody subscribe, please, to the Geri Petito Show YouTube channel, and you can be in chat with me when I do these. So Barbara Ann, I'm not sure if she's a friend of yours or mine. Okay. And she's telling me I look awesome for 60. I love her already. Barbara Ann, you are now one of my besties. So Thomas, tell everybody, how to reach out to you about, how to become part of your food, group, whatever you want to tell them now.
Well, it's called The Food Right. It's writing stories about your favorite eateries and stories. It's a Facebook group that when I invite people or talk to people about coming there, the first thing I tell them is zero politics.
Yep.
I'm anti-political. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to hear about it. It's a safe place for people to come and talk about where they're going for dinner, their favorite restaurants, their favorite dinners. Post your pictures, talk about wine. If you have questions about foods and wines, just fire away. And all of a sudden, this group has taken off, and it's like almost 1,000 people without no effort. And it's just this great little community of people just talking about food.
That's so cool. So how else can they get in touch with you? Facebook, websites about your wine, anything else?
My website is just my name, thomaspetito.com, and they could fire away an email. I think my phone number's on it. They could text me anytime. And of course, the Facebook group.
Yep.
Right. They could find me on Facebook, Thomas Petito, and then I'll steer them right into everything else.
Good. So is there anything else you'd like to say before we close?
No, I'm good. Okay. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to having a chat with you again in the future.
This is awesome. Everybody, Thomas Petito, again, producer of premium wines, organic as well. I love it. Thank you, Thomas. It was great having you, and we will do this again.
Thank you, Geri. Speak soon.
Take care.